My name is Akram Shahzad. I'm 55 years old now, but even today, I drive my truck with the same passion I had 20 years ago. My whole youth, my entire livelihood has been spent in this cargo line. People say driving is risky. I say the journey is life. What I'm about to tell you, I've never told anyone completely. Truck drivers usually make fun of such things. But what I saw, what I heard, it's still alive inside me. This happened a few years ago, and I swear, even today, when I take the Karachi to Kashmir route, that little bell rings in my mind all by itself. I had a delivery from Karachi port to a remote forest area in Kashmir. A heavy road cutter machine needed for a mountain cutting project. I loaded it, grabbed my documents, had some tea, and planned the route. Karachi, Hyderabad, Sucker, Bahawalpur, Lahore, motorway, straight toward Kashmir. I knew the trip would take about 2 days and 2 nights. The load was heavy. The truck made a different kind of metallic groan the moment the weight settled. But this was my daily routine. I started the engine, felt that familiar soft ticking, that heavy bounce, and set off toward Karachi's highway. Before this incident, whenever I got sleepy, I used to sleep inside my truck. But after this night, I stopped doing that forever. A few months earlier, I had survived an attempted robbery. 2 men broke my window and held a knife to my neck on the highway. After that, my sleep changed. So I started carrying a camping tent I bought from Lahore, and a small bell. At first, I just liked how it looked. But eventually, I started hanging it at the tent's entrance, thinking if any human or animal approached, the bell would ring and wake me up. I didn't know that same bell would open the door to the most terrifying night of my life. After crossing Lahore, I exited toward the upper side of the motorway. Evening had fallen. Cold air from the mountains began sweeping down. The slopes ahead were steep and dark. The company messaged me, "Akram, the construction site is inside the forest. The path is unpaved. If you reach by night, rest there." My body was exhausted. Sleep was touching my eyes in waves. But I thought just a little further. Find an open spot, set up camp, and rest. As I went deeper into the forest, the cold grew stronger. The road became deserted. No vehicles, no huts, just tall trees and suffocating silence. Around 2:30 a.m., I parked the truck on the side. There wasn't much open space, but enough to set up my tent away from the truck. I always kept the tent a bit far from the truck, so if anyone with bad intentions approached, they'd find the truck first, not me. I took out my flashlight, found a somewhat level patch in the bushes, and set up the tent. The forest in front of me was pitch black. The air felt strangely cold, unnaturally cold. Even the silence sounded like it was whispering. I hung the bell at the tent entrance, lay down, fixed my pillow, and closed my eyes. After some time, I must have fallen asleep. Then I heard it. The bell, a very soft ting, like someone touched it with the tip of a finger. My eyes opened instantly. I listened. Silence. Then again. Ting, ting. I grabbed my flashlight, held my breath, unzipped the tent slowly, and shined the light outside. Nothing. Just trees, wind, and that eerie stillness. I went back inside. A few minutes later, I heard small footsteps outside, barefoot, moving on the rocky ground. Not one, but 2, 3, maybe 4. I froze. Then I heard a child's giggle, not near, not far, but right outside my tent. My entire body turned to stone. There was no way these were human children. There were no houses for miles, no settlements. No one lived in that forest. I unzipped the tent again and flashed the light. Nothing. I kept telling myself it was exhaustion, imagination. But then the bell rang loudly, like someone had grabbed it and shaken it hard. I stepped outside with the flashlight. The bell stopped immediately. Then the small metal chimes I kept on the truck began to rattle, slowly, deliberately, as if someone was standing there and brushing their fingers across them. Again, I flashed the light. Nothing. Then the footsteps began circling my tent. Slow, deliberate, like something was walking around me. Then it stopped. Right in front of the tent, I heard a heavy, rough breath. Not human, not animal. Something in between. Small giggles, tiny footsteps, and that heavy breathing. I zipped the tent closed and lay down, listening to everything. The children ran around the tent. Their giggles turned sharper, stranger. Then the fabric wall of my tent pressed inward. Someone was standing right there. I could see a shadow on the cloth, a small round head, short arms, swaying slowly. Then more shadows, 3, 4, but their movements were not human. Their bodies jerked unnaturally, like glitching silhouettes. Then the shadows vanished, but the sounds continued, running, giggling, whispering, something crawling under the truck. Fast, impossibly fast. I gathered courage, unzipped the tent with a jerk, and flashed the light everywhere. Nothing. But then behind the truck, a small shadow ducked away. I stepped back inside, zipped the tent, trembling. Then I heard the worst sound of the night. Something calling my name, in a broken, stretched out, unnatural voice. Not a child's voice, not an adult's. Something else entirely. Then footsteps came right up to the tent. I flashed the light. A shadow appeared on the fabric again. A small, child-sized figure. Head round, arms short, touching the tent wall. Then more shadows underneath it. 4 of them. Suddenly, they trembled violently and disappeared. The noises didn't stop. Children running, laughing, something whispering, something crawling. Then the zipper on my tent started moving from the outside. There was no wind, and the zipper was on the inside. Something was touching it. I told myself, Akram, this is it. Either you faint or you fight. I grabbed the zipper, yanked it open, and jumped outside with the flashlight. Nothing. Then behind me, children ran, their footsteps loud, fast, unnatural. Then a voice, "Come on, catch him, he's here." But the voice wasn't human. It was like something trying to mimic children, but failing. Suddenly, the bell rang loudly. I turned. The bell wasn't at the tent anymore. It was on the ground, thrown. At that moment, I knew this wasn't anything of this world. I ran toward the truck. Before I even touched the door, the truck horn blasted on its own, like someone was sitting inside, pounding on it. I froze. Then 3 knocks on the truck body. Tuck, tuck, tuck. I shined the light. A small shadow darted away. I jumped inside the truck, locked the door, and sat there shaking while something breathed heavily right outside my window. Eventually, everything went silent. I stayed awake till dawn. When morning came, I stepped outside, and my heart nearly stopped. There were dozens of small footprints around my truck, like footprints of 4-year-old children. But there were only incoming footprints, no returning ones. That was impossible. I packed everything and drove straight to the construction site. 2 truckers were already there. They saw my face and asked if I was okay. I told them the entire night's events. They fell completely silent. Then one of them said, "Akram, this isn't the first time. Other drivers have seen the same thing. Small shadows, children laughing, footprints, voices." Another added, "Locals say small beings come out at night. They aren't human, and they don't like being seen." Then a laborer quietly said, "They're jinn children. They live in the forest. They come out to look at strangers." Everything clicked. The bell, the shadows, the giggles, the running, the crawling, the horn, the footprints. That night wasn't imagination. It was real. Since that day, I never used that bell again, and I never, ever stopped in that forest at night. And even today, when I take the Kashmir route, that bell rings in my ears, and the children's laughter follows.